Welcome to KSPN TV and this is our official sports center for a midweek special alongside Sammy Fawn. I'm Judo Kanyas. Well, we have a special guest today. It is the head coach of the Caneo Oaks, his 14th season as the head skipper. He's a two-time champion with the Caneo Oaks. It's David Soliz. Coach Soliz, we thank you for coming to the show today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. I guess my first question is, baseball it's such an everyday thing. We're doing it pretty much every day. We have 5 games out of, the 7 days of a week. We have an off day today. Just walk us through kind of what an off day would be for you, when we have kind of these midweek breaks, obviously a game's tomorrow.
Well, generally speaking, the off day is right. I tend to. I'm an early riser, so I get up early, have some coffee, work around the garage, run a few errands here and there, get everything ready for tomorrow. That's the bulk of this time of day is get everything ready for tomorrow in terms of lineups and charts and things like that. So the off day is very relaxing, but it's not exactly completely off because I said spend a lot of time in the morning with my wife, with McKenna, just being the dad and being a husband. But for the most part, once we get to about this time of day, the we'll start focusing again on tomorrow.
That's great. And yeah, Coach Soliz, tomorrow you guys will face the San Francisco Seagulls. This is the first North Division team that you guys are facing. What is it like still facing a new team later on in the season? I mean, we're about halfway through the season. Does new opponent, does the team ever get nervous, or what is their mindset facing a new opponent?
Nothing changes really. It's the mindset of show up to the field, prepare, be ready to work every single day. We've talked to the team early in the summer. Hit on it once or twice since the start of this summer season about it really and truly it's not about who you play or where you play, it's how you play. And if we can continue to play well, then the opponent, you respect every opponent because every opponent's a quality opponent. But at the same time, it's really just about how we play, and that's really the focus every day is how we play, and are we striving to get better every single day.
Yeah, I guess kind of staying on the topic, you guys are currently on a 3-game winning streak. And I think the thing that at least has stood out to me really is your guys' starting pitching. In the 14 innings, your starting pitchers have gone. They've thrown 15 strikeouts, just allowed 2 earned runs, and really off just a Tommy Gooden home run in the first inning. Just what have you kind of made of your starting pitching? I mean, it hasn't just been in a 3-game win streak. We've really seen in the last few weeks them really lock in, allow, the comfort for your team and offensively not have to hold themselves back into games. Just what have you kind of made of your starting pitching this summer?
Well, the 5 guys we're running out there right now, since they've really settled into the role of a starter, with regardless of I say which one of the 5, but they've settled in. They've settled in. They into their role not only on the day they pitch, of course, but their off day, whether it's a bullpen side session, flat ground, what have you, the daily preparation. They really settled in. And it's starting to show a little bit. I mean, obviously, to your point yesterday, Charlie threw a really really good game, and they scored 2 runs in the first, but you're going to give up runs. That's the reality of baseball. You're going to give up runs. You're going to score some runs, but all 5 guys have really just settled in nicely to their role.
Yeah, totally. And just sorry, Sam, just a quick follow up. I'm curious because we talked maybe like 2 weeks ago, and you said one of the things you've learned about being a manager is like building those relationships with players. And there's some pitchers who maybe go on the mound, they're having a little bit of a tougher time. And for those pitchers, I know you guys have a pitching coach, Scott Radinsky, but for you, kind of what are some pieces of words of advice you give to those pitchers who, still trying to find more of their comfort on the mound?
Yeah, so just stay the course. Stay the course. Understand why you're here in the summer. The goal is always to develop and continue to get better. Obviously, whether it's a pitcher, hitter, offensive end, defensive end. I realize everybody wants to get the result. Everybody wants to get a hit at the plate. Everybody wants to make every play on defense, and the same thing goes for the mound. Everybody wants to get 3 outs every inning without giving up a run. And the reality is, in all three phases of the game. It's not going to be perfect. So with the pitchers and hitters, it's stay the course. Understand why you're here. We talked a lot about intent. Intent is, why are you doing this? Or when I say why are you doing this, why are you, again, why are you here? Continue to develop. Obviously, you're chasing results. We know that, but at the same time, just don't lose sight of the development portion of why you're here. And so, they continue with that and a positive attitude. Things will work out in their favor.
Let me ask you a question, Coach. Okay, compared to last year's team that basically won the championship, how would you compare this year's team at this point of the season? Okay.
So both teams are similar in the sense that the roster, the makeup of the roster, every single player from last year's team, every single player from this year's team, and I want to, credit to them for giving up their summer. When a lot of student athletes or just students or young people in general, their age, are spending more time at the beach doing fun stuff, so to speak, right? So, with that being said, they show up every single day. Last year's team, this year's team, they show up every single day with a genuine desire to win. So, in the midst of summer baseball, there could be the attitude of, I just want to get my innings and get my at bats and things like that. Well, both teams, they generally like to win, and I think that goes a long way with once you get into the third, fourth week of June, heading into July. Again, 5 days a week is a lot of baseball, but the similarities there are, for us this year, showing up, more times than not. We're having a pretty good season right now, so we've been on the right side of the games, but it's, I think, in large part due to their desire to win.
Well, part of it, from my standpoint, that I see is the coaching staff has not changed. So in reality, that's where the whole key to success really comes from, doesn't it?
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. We do have a good consistency to our coaching staff. Over the course of the years, myself, Joe's been with me ever since I started, and Rad's been with us minus last summer, but Rad's been with us for a few years. Connor's been with us for a few years now, and we've added Matt to the equation this year. But we have had a good consistency with the coaches, which leads to, I would like to think, where we create a good, I guess for lack of a better word, we create a good culture. We allow the players to come in and be baseball players, treat them as adults, expect them to act as adults. So to your point, Bob, I think that there's maybe something to be said for the consistency, not only with the staff, the support staff, everybody involved that's been around for, my McKenna, Becca, yourself. It's just a very consistent organization. Mike, Randy, they've been very, obviously their contributions are much appreciated. So yeah, to your point, yes, but it's bigger than the staff. It's the entire organization that has been consistent.
Yep.
I love that. Yeah. Now, you're also a coach at Ventura College, right? And
Correct.
what can you say? What are some similarities and differences of coaching regular spring baseball and summer ball?
Well, on the field, we try to keep it the same. Try to keep it consistent. Back to that word consistency. What you see with me on the field day to day, that's how I strive to be at Ventura College every single day as well. The component that's obviously very different is the players don't have to worry about the school end of it. Not, some are taking summer school, of course, but for the most part, there isn't a school component of having to go to class, having to, do the academic portion in the summer. It's for a large portion of the players, the focus can be strictly on baseball. That's where the biggest difference lies. The similarities are endless, with the way we go about how we do our daily work and treat the players. That's very consistent with what we do at Ventura.
And I mean, we still have a few games this week, but next week is kind of a special time. We have the California Collegiate League Showcase, and I know for you, it's your second to third time kind of being a coach of it. What is it? I mean, just first of all, to kind of be, I guess I don't want to say head man because I know you're along Aaron Millen, the Arroyo Seco Saints manager. What does it just kind of be a head coach in that just position to be around all these kids, not just from the Caney Oaks, but all across the California Collegiate League as one of the managers?
It's really nice to see the guys come together. We spend 2 months or up until the game, and it was about 6 weeks of competing against each other. And then you're able to get in the same dugout with the players and watch them interact with each other. And inevitably, a lot of the players know each other from, some are teammates. Some are teammates at their school. Some, obviously play against each other. So watching them that day be able to interact with each other, and then and the ones that are selected, of course, be able to showcase their talent on a national stage. A lot of them obviously get to play on that stage at their school, of course, but then there's a good majority that don't. And so the day is special in terms of kind of rewarding them for what they've accomplished so far. We try to do a little bit more for our players on that day in terms of we don't just show up and, go to the game. What we'll do is we leave a little earlier in the day. We take all of our players to a nice lunch, have a nice sit down lunch with everybody there, and kind of just let them know that this day is all about, it's about them and what they've accomplished and everybody who supported them, from their previous coach, from their coaches to their family and friends, and just enjoy the day. It's a really, really nice day. It's a long day, but it's a nice day.
Yeah, sounds very exciting. And I know you guys will be traveling from Kalu to Compton. And speaking of traveling, can you tell us about any of your fondest memories from traveling with the team to different ballparks, whether on the bus or, getting to the site, or any memories that stand out traveling?
Well, this year, the schedule is pretty favorable to us in terms of home versus road games. So I think I'm looking at the schedule right here. I believe it was maybe 11 or 12 total games on the road. So, we're very fortunate in that sense. But nonetheless, when we do get to travel, you get on the bus. That's really for the players, anyways, a nice bonding time for them. They like to play their I call them college baseball games, in the back. I guess they call it mafia or something like that. So you get to you get to listen to that. But at the same time, for me, it's just, when they're on the bus, we're setting the lineup and making the batting practice charts and things like that. But the bus rides are, sometimes it's a nice break. Obviously, playing at home is nice. Playing on the road, different parks, different environments. The Great Park, they have a nice atmosphere out there, and then we'll be going to San Luis Obispo here later this month, and they always have a really nice environment. So, but every individual place we play, park we play, is it's nice. It's our league, the quality of the field, the facilities we play at, and the opponents we play. It's a really nice thing to see, especially when we go on the road.
Quick question, for that All-Star game, is there any chance that we can have a live stream with Sammy and Jude doing the announcing?
I don't know the answer to that question, but in the past, each individual team has not been able to broadcast their own, because it is going to be shown on national TV. And this is just my, I don't want to say assumption, but the reason I believe that's the case is because, with 10 teams in the league, if everybody brings down their broadcast, that's 10 additional setups. And then there's obviously, background noise over each other. So I think with this one, they want it to be exclusive to the national coverage.
Got it. Okay.
And I just wanted to kind of tie around to, I think me and Sammy have noticed, and, Bob kind of asked earlier just about the culture. We see a lot of plays where players are making either sacrifice flies or really just trying to advance runners. It's not all about getting the hits like you've already mentioned. And that's something I think you talked about, a consistent culture, a consistent organization. I'm wondering for you, when you've kind of come up as a baseball player or in your early manager days, was there a manager or someone in your life that was a big mentor that kind of taught you these, I guess, kind of pillars of foundation to become the manager you are today?
Oh, wow. We can go on for this question. Yes. The answer to that is yes. I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of good people who have taught me baseball, who have taught me life, and then you kind of tie it all in together. For me, it started at home. My parents, my dad, the baseball end of it, my dad, the life portion of it, both my parents, as far as consistency, commitment, things like that. And then you move on to as a player, I was very fortunate to play for, a lot of good people who were not only good baseball coaches, but they continued here's the life aspect through the lens of baseball. And then now currently, of course, I lean a lot on my older brother. My older brother has been involved in professional baseball for a long time. So we talk a lot. We talk almost every day regarding baseball. And then at the field, of course, our staff, we bounce things off each other. Some of the best coaching staffs are not always ones that agree every single time. So you have to, be willing to listen, which I am and which we are. And then obviously one of the biggest influences that's with us is Mike Sosha. I mean, he is a wealth of knowledge, and I see baseball
I'm on
maybe
Zoom.
like this, and he sees it on a bigger picture, of course, and so there's things that maybe I've never thought of, and I'm not one to say that I know everything about baseball. I'm constantly learning myself, from every single one of our coaches on our staff and Mike and everybody else that I mentioned. But yeah, there's a lot of people, to answer your question, that have influenced me and you take from each one of them and how I've developed, I guess, my philosophy, so to speak, of coaching and dealing with young people, and the relationships you build. That's valuable. The relationships you build is what allows you to coach on the field. Because if you don't build those relationships, you're not going to be able to coach on the field. You have to have a rapport with the players.
Absolutely.
And I've learned that.
I actually wanted to ask, I know I love that we have Mike Sosha supporting the Conejo Oaks and sponsoring, is it Richardson? I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to you, and what does it mean to the players and all the coaches to have the support of Mike, someone with major league experience, and how he influences the team?
His support it's so genuine, and because he really wants the players to be the best version of themselves. We're very fortunate. Obviously, we have Mike, and I'll finish up with that. We also have Scott Radinsky, who is a big league pitcher himself, big league pitching coach himself, was on many staffs. So between the two, Rad's with us every day. Mike is with us a lot, and between those two, and then obviously the rest of the staff, but those two in particular, with the higher level of knowledge, I learn every single day. I'm learning something every single day from both of them and from all the other staff members. But to speak on Mike, his generosity, not only obviously with the financial support that he provides for the organization, for the team, but the day-to-day support of the other day, going out there, and we did some early work and helping the middle infielders turn a double play, or working with the catchers, or seeing something with a pitcher. He watches the games himself, and he'll shoot me a text, things like that. Hey, maybe we should work on this, or did you see something like that? So it's constant. He's a baseball person, and he really for us, I've been with the team since 2008. He has always been one to just really want the players to be the best version of himself and bring out their best baseball.
Yeah,
To
I heard
that
he
very
helped
much
catchers
appreciated.
To that
I heard he helped
effect,
the
Dave.
catchers with framing.
What's that?
I heard he helped the catchers with framing too, like
Yes.
tips on that.
All aspects of the game he's helping with. Every single aspect he's helping with. And like I said, it doesn't go unnoticed, and it is so appreciated by myself, the staff, and the players, of course.
Can you share and I remember talking with Mike myself, okay, why he got involved, okay, was the years that his son was at Notre Dame.
Sure. So we started when I first started with the team in 2000. So the team was was founded in 2006. Mike and Randy founded the team because Mike's son, Randy's son as well, were in college, and they're really for them there was an opportunity to play, so they decided to create this Conejo Oaks. And, I was very fortunate to come in 2008 as the pitching coach for a couple of years. And then in 11, they asked me if I wanted to be the head coach. And of course I said yes. And, but yeah, Bob, to your point, that's where it started. And from where we started to where we are now, we've grown tremendously with not only obviously the on-field product, but from the broadcast to all the support staff of Becca, McKenna, interns, everybody, our athletic trainer. Yoshi's one of the best. He's one of the best, and we in his because and I say it that way because he is one of the best, but at the same time, these players, we want them to enjoy their summer, of course, but the goal is always to send them back to their school. Injuries are going to be part of the game no matter what, but if we can help be proactive and with some preventable injuries, and that's where Yoshi comes in. He is a valuable resource to us. So yeah, Bob, to your point, when Mike started this back 2006 to where we are now, we're extremely grateful.
Yep.
I just have one last question, and it's not really to do with baseball, but you mentioned Scott Radinsky, and I know he has the band Pulley. I'm curious if he has ever played music before a game, or you guys have seen him live. I'm just curious about if he ever tries to play the music.
I've never seen him live. I've seen videos, of course, and Jose, who's our first base coach, he has seen him live, and I know he has a big following. He's yeah. Rad's a guy of many talents. Obviously, the baseball end of it, of course, but skating he's big in skating, and obviously Pulley's they're big. Yeah. I didn't realize that because it's not my type of music. But then you start talking to him, and watch. I can YouTube something and pull something up. Pull some videos up. It's really cool. It really is. But I've never seen him live. No.
And I guess just lastly, just talking about this upcoming week, you obviously the San Francisco Seagulls, which you already kind of detailed the matchup there, but you talk about traveling on the road against Santa Barbara on Friday, and then the 2 back-to-back games against the Royal Seco Saints. I know you every game is try to keep consistent, but is there kind of just a bigger edge facing these teams, just knowing the position and the standings and the potential to, I know Santa Barbara Foresters don't play in the playoffs of these, but just getting these big games, especially with games on the road.
I guess I'm gonna give you my boring answer because it's the truth. Every game is the biggest game, right? And so, and I really believe that because it's more to it, because I can't go out there and tell with that with the attitude of we got the Foresters on Friday and we have a Royal on or Orange County, whoever it may be, because on any given day anybody can beat us, and we have to respect that. And so to that point, it really is getting back to the first day speech for the players in terms of every single day, what's our intent, what's our goal, and just maintain that consistency. And that helps us, when we do play, or I guess regardless of who we play. So I know, we have Santa Barbara on Friday and we have a Royal this weekend, but right now, 100% focus on San Francisco.
Well, perfect. We appreciate your time, Coach David Soliz, I should say, as the Canellics look to make it a 4-game winning streak at 4:30 p.m. at George Sparky Anderson Field. Thank you so much just for your time alongside Sammy Fawn. I've been Judo Cognizant, as well as Bob Allen, our great, sponsor and host here. And don't forget to check out Pizza Man Dan's at 6 different locations in Ventura County. But I've been Judo Cognizant. That has been another episode of Sports Center on KSPN TV. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.